Grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. The Columbarium at St. Armand's Quay Lutheran Church is a very special place. It's here where grief meets hope and death meets resurrection. A very special place indeed. I want to talk to you today about grief, but of course in these short few minutes I couldn't possibly examine grief in all its complexity. But there are several things that folks say to me often as they talk to me about the grief they're experiencing. One is, gosh, I didn't think this would hurt so much. Years ago when I mourned, and they'll name a loved one, that grief was so much easier to handle than this. I'm overwhelmed. Why is this so different? Of course, the answer is that we change over time. When I mourned my father decades ago, I mourned, but I know that when I mourn again, it'll be different because I'm different. I'm not the same person I was back then. People also say, gosh, I really thought that grief was a process in which I got a little better each and every day. Well, of course, we discover that grief is not linear. Grief is circular. We keep coming back to moments of intense grief, almost like being hit by a wave unexpectedly on the beach. So grief is much more circular, but as one scholar points out, not quite circular, more like a spiral staircase, where we come back to a point and think, oh no, am I here again? But we're not exactly back where we were. As in a spiral staircase, we're now in a slightly different position, slightly different place, sometimes imperceptibly so, but over time we do discover that we're not exactly where we were before. Other people say to me, why am I, as a person of faith, experiencing this grief? Does this mean I don't really have faith? If I believed in the resurrection, why does this hurt so much? Well, of course, one of the obvious responses to that is we miss people. And even though we believe with our heart and soul and strength that we will see them again at the resurrection on the last day, the point is we don't see them now, and we may not see them for quite a while. And that absence hurts. That's why Paul says, people of faith mourn, but not as they that have no hope. We have that hope in the resurrection of the dead, but still we mourn. And then, of course, we have the example of Jesus himself, who knelt by the dead body of his friend Lazarus. And even although Jesus was the resurrection and the life, still he wept tears of grief and loss at the death of his beloved friend. My prayer for you, for me, for all who mourn, is that we mourn, but not as they that have no hope. May God be with you till we meet again.